With me today, I have Michelle Yip, who's the Chief Marketing Officer, and Gildas Chambrelan, the Import Director at Lazada, which is Singapore's premier online shopping website. And COVID-19 and the consequent lockdowns or social distancing measures have really made online or e-commerce an even more powerful part of the marketing mix for suppliers. And I'm really looking forward to hearing how it should be done from these experts. Just a bit of housekeeping. If you've got any questions during this session, there is a Q&A button down the bottom of your screen. Please use that, and we will have time for Q&A at the end. So we'll collate them all and then go through the questions at the end. But now I'll hand over to Michelle from Lazada.
Hi everyone, it's such a pleasure to be spending this time together today in our lunchtime get together, and to share with you a little bit more about Lazada and how we can also be your gateway to Southeast Asia, starting your business or thinking about engaging with the customers in this part of the world. So I'm the CMO for Lazada Singapore, and I've been with the company for about 5 years now. Started in the commercial team and moved on to customer experience, platform policies, seller engagement, and most recently in the marketing team. And so today, our presentation will be focused on sharing a big picture of what Lazada is, but also deep diving into how to run businesses in Singapore, which will be shared by my colleague here, Gildas. And then we'll end with a little bit of marketing solutions and how we can engage better with consumers. So I'll pass the time to Gildas to share a little bit about himself.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. So yeah, thank you, Michelle. I'm Gildas. I'm in Singapore since almost 7 years now. I'm coming from the classic retail industry. I used to manage a global sourcing office in Shanghai, China, previously joining Singapore. I joined Redmart, which is the grocery channel for the Lazada group in Singapore 7 years ago, and my main mission was to build up the private label business as well as the direct import, direct sourcing, all what is about bringing product into Singapore. Thank you, and let's speak later on.
All right, thanks, Gildas. So now I'll go into the presentation proper. It'll take about maybe 20-25 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions after. We'll be covering a little bit about Lazada, how we run the Redmart channel, the Singapore market, and marketing solutions. So Lazada is Southeast Asia's leading and fastest e-commerce platform. If we're thinking about e-commerce here, it started building up really traction and speed about a couple years back. When Lazada started 8 years ago, we started as a retail model. And there quickly, we saw that sellers were increasing in their capabilities and willingness to think about alternative distribution channels. And that's when we started the marketplace, and thereafter also cross-border, mainly from China, Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. In the Redmart business, we also bring in bespoke brands and home favorites from many countries, as this is also a melting pot of different cultures and countries. Our annual buyers is at the moment across Southeast Asia 65 million. This is a 45% increase year on year. Our daily orders have reached 2.1 million, over 100% growth year on year. DAU refers to daily active users, and these are people who come into our app on a daily basis. That's 17.3 million, which is a 60% increase from last year. The number of sellers have also increased drastically, and there's about 390,000 now active. These are sellers which are actively selling. We also have many new sellers who are growing their business on our platform, and this is 120% increase year on year. So what these numbers are telling us is that e-commerce is really vibrant in this part of the world and gaining traction. Customers are also getting more used to shopping online and thinking about it as a new form of window shopping, a form of diversifying how they live their daily life and how they search for products. A couple of years back, e-commerce was used really very much as a price checker, but today there's a lot of loyalty being built with various platforms, and we are seeing this much more happening in this part of the world. We have over 240 million products that's available across our 6 core markets. These goes from the category of electronics, which is where Lazada started with, to now FMCG, which is what we are very known for, and groceries in several markets, Singapore included, sports and accessories, fashion, toys, kids and babies, mother and childcare, and basically any category that you can think of under the sun. We have strong user engagement with over 60% of our base being daily active users. And for the Lazada fulfillment, which is packages fulfilled directly by Lazada, we have a 97% rate for same or next day delivery. I think what's very interesting about Lazada is that we are one of the e-commerce platform that manages a large part of the parcel delivery and logistics chain. So we currently manage about 80% of the parcels directly, and for own last mile coverage, 71%. This is something that we feel is very important to build an e-commerce company, because logistics is so much a part of the customer experience, and without managing that very much in-house or with very strong partners, it's very hard to ensure that our customers are getting the best experience that we so hope they will. To do this, our logistics footprint has been something that we have continuously invested behind, including both fulfillment and also sort centers. So the customer experience focused initiatives that we have put effort behind is real-time tracking of drivers. When customers place an order, we find that over 50% of all the different contacts are related to where is my order. So we wanted to really empower our customers to be able to know where their parcels are in order for them to have the trust and assurance that their parcel is on their way to them. Next day delivery speed is also something that's very important. At the same time, reliability is the other spectrum that is very important to our customers. We have also introduced collection and drop-off points. I think one of the frustration in e-commerce is when the delivery guy comes to your home, you find that the delivery cannot be fulfilled because we're not at home. And therefore, collection and drop-off point is very important in many markets, Singapore included, where we have families which both parents are actually working, and that during the daytime on a weekday, there might not be anyone at home. Today in Singapore, we have over 1,000 collection and drop-off points, and we're gradually opening up more and more in order to fulfill this need of our customers. There's of course express delivery next day, which is something that has always been important in e-commerce. The next topic that I want to touch on is payments. When Lazada started about 8 years ago, cash on delivery was something that was very key and still is today. However, we do see more and more moving towards wallet. Cash on delivery is important because in Southeast Asia, a large part of the population is still unbanked, do not have a credit card. Therefore, wallet is a very important aspect that we want to build, because this reduces the amount of packages which have failed delivery due to payment methods. And wallet is a safe way, but also a very flexible way for us to manage e-commerce payments. The next point that I wanted to share with the group here is about technology. Definitely running an e-commerce business and being part of the Alibaba group opens up many possibilities of technology tools which we can tap on. And since we became part of the Alibaba group a few years back, about 3 years ago, we have actually continuously built our platform to be in sync with the Alibaba tech tools in order to share this amazing technology assets that is available. So localization is something that is very key in order to address the Southeast Asian market. We manage about 150 million search queries on a daily basis, and this is served in 5 local languages. Our shopping feed is personalized. So if you search for the same thing with a friend, you may find that your search results actually look different. And that's because there's machine learning behind the algorithm in order to serve you search results, which is most relevant to you. With 240 million products, a personalized search experience increases the possibility that you, go through a less frustrating experience and find what you need quickly. In order to engage our audience, as e-commerce is slowly transforming more from being search, buy, checkout to more like search, play, watch, checkout. And to do so, we've introduced many mobile games, which we term LAS games. And when you play these games, which are very simple games, it's super addictive, and you get to collect coins. And these coins you can exchange for either gifts, which are supplier funded, or vouchers, which can be both platform or supplier funded. This enables our brands and seller partners to engage with our audience in a more alternative fashion, so that the engagement level is something that you can build, rather than only relying on the traditional CRM tools. You can also think about using LAS game as a way to engage with your consumers. We also started live streaming aggressively since last year, as social commerce is taking Southeast Asia by storm. So, social commerce is already very rampant in the Northeast Asia, and we saw that the trend was slowly coming but surely to Southeast Asia. And user engagement on live stream has a positive correlation to their stickiness to the platform, but also their sense of exploration and discovery of new products, which we know is the new way of window shopping. So I hope that this gives you a little bit idea of about who Lazada is, and I'll pass the time to Gildas, who will share with us the RedMart channel and market trends.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Let me just start my video. Yeah, here I am. So thank you. Hello, everybody. I will try to focus a little bit more on the RedMart channel, which is basically the online grocery supermarket channel of the Lazada group, based in Singapore and focusing on the Singaporean market. So just starting by the RedMart missions and vision. Basically in RedMart, our mission is to save people time and money for the important thing in life. We do believe that queuing in a supermarket during your free time is not the most exciting thing to do. This time is much more valuable for doing sport, meeting your loved ones, and entertaining yourself. And we also believe that online grocery shopping should not be more expensive than offline shopping. And our RedMart vision is to be the world's most trusted customer-centric supermarket. When we say trust, we try to provide the best quality of product and services. We have a freshness guarantee system, and it's very important when we are talking about fresh produce. We all know that supermarket quality level is evaluated by customers, even if it's offline or online, by their fresh section. That's how they think, is it a good one or a bad one? So online, as the people are not choosing themselves the product they want to buy, no mistake is possible for us. We are also safe and responsible. We have a very good traceability and recall process in place. Our temperature control, quality monitoring is perfect. The big advantage, for example, on the traceability or on recall procedure when you are online players, is that if there is any kind of recall, you can stop immediately the product to going out to your central DC, and you can also recall the product to the direct final customer, because you have all the data available in hands to do that. Also, we tend to, yeah. Okay, let's move to the next one. So I'll give you a little bit of the RedMart milestones. So originally, Redmart had been created by two young entrepreneurs, Roger and Vikram. They were both coming from the finance industry in New York. They quit to launch an MBA, and they met in Singapore during this period. And they were big user of online grocery shopping in New York, and they realized that there were no such option in Singapore, despite the fact that all the parameters for online grocery were green here in Singapore: high density population, high incomes, no or low car penetration, highly connected community, and very busy people. So they get some money from some famous investor from the tech industry, Eduardo Saverin, co-founder of Facebook, Travis Anus, co-founder of Skype, Forrest Lee, which is the founder of Garena, which is the largest video game distributor in Southeast Asia. And we also had some very high-level investor coming from Tesco as well as from Fresh Direct in New York. So when it comes to milestones, started in 2011. At the beginning, it was only two guys and a truck. Basically, they were replenishing from their living room. Then they moved to a startup garage, small office, very small warehouse with 1,000 of product. We built up a new fulfillment center in 2012 with 12,000 square feet. We launched our proprietary e-commerce platform and mobile apps. In 2014, we launched Fresh and Frozen, and we also expand our warehouse to double the capacity, to triple the capacity, and we also launched our direct import capability. In 2015, we launched our own brand of private label products under contract manufacturing. And we grow. And at the end of 2015, we crossed over 2,000 orders per day. In 2015, we launched our marketplace platform. In 2016, we had been acquired by Lazada, backed by Alibaba. And we also became the same year the largest grocery range into Singapore. Together with Lazada in 2017, we launched a loyalty program named LiveUp, giving some rebates, some advantage for loyal customer subscribing to this program. In 2018, we crossed over 10,000 orders per day, and the same year we launched our exclusive partnership with Sainsbury's in the UK to have access to their own private brand. And at the same year, we also launched a new private brand called Sui, an hyper-local one. And finally, in 2019, we integrate both platforms. We integrate the Redmart platform into the Lazada platform to become an official channel of Lazada. And in 2020, we crossed 15,000 orders per day. Next slide. So it had been a clear meteoric growth in Singapore for Redmart. I will not come back from 2011, 2017, but to give you an idea, we had been growing year on year over 2 digits in terms of percentage. Some years we climbed up to a growth of 80% per year, 80. The most important part is that in 2018, and it's even bigger now, 7 amongst 10 shoppers in Singapore is using Redmart for grocery. And it's climbing up. And now probably we are one of the largest option, and we are the largest option. Next slide. So how did we do that? Basically by providing the best value. We do believe, as I said previously, that online shopping should not be more expensive than offline. So we established a price matching guarantee store-wide. So if you find another product on another retail channel that is cheaper than ours, we will refund the price difference to you. Unlike the brick and mortar, we have less capital pressure on the real estate for physical shop, specifically in Singapore. The real estate is really crazy. So having a large shop in Singapore is very, very expensive. Of course, on the last mile delivery cost, we are struggling a little bit more than a physical shop, but overall, we are able to provide a free delivery option to our customers and to align our price point to the competition to Singapore. When it comes to the assortment, definitely we have much less pressure on the shelves occupation than a physical shop. Physical shop is limited. They cannot list more than X product. And we also have an innovative business model allowing us to have the largest grocery range in Singapore with 140,000 unique SKU on our shop. And convenience, we are offering 2-hour delivery slot, 7 days a week. And we are the first one providing this kind of service. We were the first one providing this kind of service in Asia. Next one. So, as I briefly touched, we have several business model or supply model, I would say. So we have what we call the local direct retail, which is a very classic way of operating that you will find in any kind of supermarket. Basically, we have the principal, the brand owner, or the official distributor that are already distributing their product through all channels that are listed in our web shop through trading terms. We maintain an inventory in our central DC, and we receive order, picking, packing, delivery, replenishment. It's a very classic supply and demand management system. So you will find people like Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Unilever, PepsiCo, or large-scale distributors like DKSH or others. Then we have what we call the RSS, which is the Renmart Specialty Store, also named Marketplace. And we have the International Direct Sourcing and Private Label. So on next slide. So what is quite unique in Renmart is that it's really a hybrid system in between a direct classic supply chain model and a marketplace model, all combined in the same web shop. This model, when it comes to grocery, is quite rare. It's either pure marketplace or either pure direct retail. We are mixing both. So the interest for us here is that we do not have any kind of inventory. It's basically a seller. It can be a small scale seller or also a large scale seller. For example, L'Oreal on the beauty range, they are under a marketplace model because they have a variety of lipstick by color, by shape, by size, that listing each of them in our system will be possible. So these sellers are listed on our platform. When there is an order from a customer, basically we send a truck that will collect the good and pick up the good from the seller, bringing back in our fulfillment center where we consolidate the marketplace product with the direct retail product. We pick and pack both of them in the same delivery model, and we deliver to the final customer. So for the final customer, it's quite transparent. They don't really know, no, it's not transparent. They don't really know if the product is coming from marketplace or from direct retail. At the end, they will receive their full basket with their entire grocery list all together. I would say for the international model, it's also a very interesting tool to sell online easily. That's clearly a low risk and a low intensity model for a vendor that are not very sure to take the risk on stock, bringing full containers into Singapore, trying to get them listed through distributor. They can use a smaller scale model where we have some partners in Singapore that can help on the logistic and on the order preparation and the shop maintenance. You can send few cases to this guy and they will list your product online and we see how it goes. If there is a traction on the product, if sales are starting to climb up, in this case, you might want to invest in a more cost-efficient, logistic-efficient model. Next page. So this is the other model that we have, which is the international direct sourcing, which is connected to the direct retail model in the sense that we maintain an inventory in our distribution center, and once the good cross the door of the warehouse, it is considered as a direct retail product. As of now, we are importing many category of products from food, non-food, FMCG. So it can be canned food, it can be fresh food, it can be beauty, laundry, cleaning product, and so on and so forth. We are covering 16 countries of origin from Northern America, Southern America, Europe, UK, India, Thailand, China, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, Australia, Malaysia, basically covering all the main country of origin. We are importing under all transport modes, air freight, sea freight, road freight, and we are covering all the temperature regime, chilled, frozen, and ambient. We work with different kind of partners. Some are principals or brand owner, even manufacturers, where we buy directly the good from their warehouse or from their factory in the country of origin. We import it and we maintain the inventory. We are also working with some consolidators and wholesalers, specifically for product where we are not able to hit certain MOQ and we have to mix and match our container with several different SKU inside the same container. And we also have some specific international exclusive partnership that we developed with large scale retailer or brand owner. So you can see we are partnering originally with Sainsbury. Now we have an exclusive partner with Woolworths, Lotte Mart in Korea. Picard is a French frozen retailer. Monoprix is part of the Casino Group. It's a French hyper-urban, hyper-trendy retailer in France, very close to Mark and Spencer for people that know them. And we have Rascal & Friends, that is also a New Zealand brand manufactured in China, but is a very famous mother and baby New Zealand brand and very successful in Singapore. Basically, by going through this kind of exclusive partnership, it's a tool for us to acquire customer, but also to retain them, because it's clearly giving them a differentiation from the rest of the retailer here in Singapore. And in the same time, we are leveraging their buying power and their control of the supply chain and the value chain. We can say that in between the brick and mortar and the online business, the online business is clearly winning on the retail front, and the brick and mortar is losing market share on the retail front. But the brick and mortar, thanks to their long history, decades of history of controlling their private brand, their supply chain, their cost structure, their MOQ, their specification, and so on, they are able to still have a very efficient offer. And for us, using and leveraging that is clearly a good way to improve our offering and our price point and quality point. Next slide. So we also developed our own private brand under a very classic model, contract manufacturing, OEM. So we approach different manufacturers all around the world. We have over 340 or 350 SKU under our own brand. We are covering all the category, food and non-food, fresh, frozen, ambient. Basically, we have three kind of brand. The first one is the Buy Red Mart. It's what we call our signature brand. It's the mainstream one. It's the core one where we put our name and we sign Red Mart on it. This one is quite high quality, good quality for money, best value for money. We have also some organic product as well as some conventional product, but all with a very strict specification level of requirements and quite a decent approach on the packaging. We also have Sui. Sui, it's more a hyper local, hyper Singaporean brand. We are using a Singaporean expression, which means basically super or something like that. And we are also reusing the iconography of the HDB, which is the public housing system in Singapore. Basically, we wanted to develop this product because our specification and level of expectation in terms of ingredient was very, very strict on the Buy Red Mart. And there were big category of product. For example, if we speak about MSG, we clearly defined that on the Red Mart brand, there won't be any kind of MSG used. Having oyster sauce or soya sauce without MSG is very complicated. And Singaporean community, they want this product. So we decided to develop this other brand. We have the third one, which is a co-branding approach, where we are mixing brands of manufacturer. For example, this is mineral water from the Alps in France. We keep their brand, but we are just adding a small red touch saying Buy Red Mart on it. We decided that because we consider that it's a more premium product, and having a specific brand and not a pure private label is not necessarily a competitive advantage in a sense that when you buy a bottle of water where it's just written Tesco on it, it's not very attractive. When you have a more elaborated brand with a history and a lot of things behind in the country of origin, the variety of the product, it's bringing added value. And we had the same feeling with the wine. We don't want to have just a bottle of Bordeaux from France with a big Red Mart on it. So we decided to reuse some brand, created some brand or use some brand from some chateau, and just added a banner at the bottom, an umbrella brand named World Cellar. So same, it's it's the best value for money. It's unique, and if you want it, if you want this brand, if you like this brand, it's only on Red Mart that it's available. Just to give a small thing before saying that, so direct import, direct sourcing, as of now, and private label is focusing a lot on the Red Mart channel, but you have to keep in mind that we are also starting to bring this service to other channels in Lazada. In Lazmall, for example, our partner Rascal and Friends is also available on Lazmall, where we have two supply chain model that are bringing the good from import to different warehouse and different service. So not only on the Red Mart approach, and just also to tell you, Rascal and Friends, that was exclusive into Singapore to start with Lazada and Red Mart, just launched a week ago or 2 weeks ago into Lazada into the Philippines. So next one, let's go more into detail on the market views and the regulatory landscape. So what is important to understand in Singapore, it's a very, very comprehensive, transparent, and predictable regulatory environment. Unlike other countries in the region, it makes a clear difference. There is one big advantage and one big disadvantage in the regulation in Singapore, is that the regulation in Singapore is clear and predictable. That's the big advantage. And the big disadvantage is that the regulation is clear and predictable. That means there is no funny games. There is zero corruption in Singapore. People working in these regulatory bodies are highly skilled, highly trained. They know what they are talking about. So you cannot really play around, turn around the approach. There is no blurry area or over complex regulation that are simply made to block the importing capabilities or to protect the local operators or local distributors or local manufacturers. In Singapore, everything, almost everything is imported, which means so they have to make it quite efficient and smooth for everybody in this business activity. So it's all at world-class standards, and we have here world-class regulatory bodies. So when it comes to FMCG product, there are three main regulatory bodies. One is the Health and Science Authority, which will not only but cover all what is about cosmetics, dental care, body care, so shampoo, soaps, medicines, medical devices, health supplement, tobacco. So they will set up the standard, the rules of operating. We have the Singapore Food Agency. As the name is quite obvious, they are focusing on food, beverages, and alcohol. And we have the NEA, the National Environment Agency, which is doing a lot of things. They are also in charge of the weather forecast in Singapore. But aside from that, they are also in charge of the pollution control in Singapore. And accordingly, they are taking care of detergents, insecticides, insect repellents, and this kind of chemical product or potential hazardous product. When it comes to access to resource and understanding the regulation, I have to admit, by having worked in different countries, the big advantage in Singapore is that everything is online. You go on these websites and you will find all the resources concerning the regulation of your product in this website. It's easy to access, it's all in English. There is no loophole or over complex regulation. Next slide. So, same story with all what is about licensing, import duties, tariff, and taxes. Singapore is quite comprehensive and simple. So when it comes to being an import operator, to simplify, you need to have one import registration license to the custom authority in Singapore. It's a one-off registration that you do when you have a company there, and it's a lifelong registration. It's only taking a few days to get it. Then after, depending on the category of product that you are working on, you have different type of license and registration to be made. Basically, I'm putting an illustration here for the food, but there is also some requirement for medical device, medicines, tobacco, firearms, car dealer, and stuff like that. So you have four main categories of license for the food. One, which is covering the first one, processed eggs, processed food, and food appliance. It's basically covering 90% of the import requirement. And this registration that you get in about 4 days. You have for meat and fish a specific license, and for fresh fruit and vegetable and fresh eggs. What is important to keep in mind, and that's important for manufacturer in the country of origin, is that on some category of product, specifically meat products and eggs, people are only able to import into Singapore product coming from SFA, so the food authority, approved countries and manufacturer and farms. So prior to expand into Singapore, if you are a manufacturer of one of these categories of product, you have to go through an approval process. It's mostly paperwork. Sometimes there is an inspection, sometimes not. It really depends on the country of origin and the level of professionalism of the people. But yeah, you have to get it before that. When it comes to documentation for import, it's also quite simple. They do not ask for really crazy documentation. It only depends on some category of product. For example, for meat, yes, we need some health certificate. For infant cereals, we need some specific documentation. Mineral water also. Meat, eggs require some extra documentation. That for all the rest, canned vegetable, canned food, as soon as it's not containing meat, it's okay, ambient and fresh. A packing list and an invoice is generally enough. Sometimes, and that's important for fresh people, people dealing with fresh fruit, fresh meat. Some category of product will require sometime an inspection by the authority in Singapore after the good arrive. So you have to take this into account. For example, for meat, it will be mostly microbiological testing that they will do. If you are dealing with fresh meat, you have to include in your supply chain model the turnaround time of the inspection, which is few days, generally speaking, but let's avoid to have a cargo of meat arriving on Friday morning because the inspector will not be able to pick it before Monday. So you will lose 2 days in your 2-3 days in your shelf life management. Next, tax and duty, sorry, same. Very comprehensive. Basically, aside from dutiable goods, which are mostly alcohol, firearms, and cars, and some machine, I guess, all the other goods are subject to goods and service tax, a flat 7% on the cost, insurance, and freight value. It makes it very, very easy for the cost structure. Believe me, you don't have to deal with a weird tariff code, or you never know what will be your tax and tariff on every product. For the dutiable goods, and I think when we are speaking about New Zealand as a country of origin, it will be mostly focusing on the beer, wine, and spirit category. Basically, depending on the category of product, you will have custom duty and or excise duty. But same, it's very comprehensive. For beer, for example, you have $16 custom duty per liter of pure alcohol, and the excise duty is $60 per pure liter of alcohol. So you just have to get your alcohol content and you make your calculation very easy. Next slide. Labeling and requirements. The big advantage in Singapore is that it's very, very close to UK standards. Basically, Singapore used to be a kind of British colony, and they built up their standards around the UK standards, the British standards. Same, all resources are online and easy to access. It's very classic: best before date, ingredient list, nutritional panel, country of origin. And only one thing on the best before date, important. For example, in Australia, I know they have this weird code or Julian code or no best before date on very long shelf life product. So this is not possible in Singapore. We need a best before date. And I will conclude on that. Singapore is clearly a good and a very good entry gate for Southeast Asia. And you have a very wide mix of culture. It's very comprehensive and very interesting. So I thank you very much for your time, and we are ready to listen to any additional question that you might have, and Marketing Solution just after me.
Great. Well, hey, thanks so much, Gildas, and also Michelle at the start there. We do have quite a few questions that have come in, so I'll leave it up to you guys who's best equipped to answer them. I'll try and kind of start with the broad ones. We've got one here. With the COVID-19 pandemic pushing many customers into e-commerce, how many do you think of those will become frequent e-commerce users rather than using physical stores moving forward?
All of them. Michelle, you want to answer? Or? Oh,
yeah, actually, we have one more part of the presentation to show some of the examples.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if we wanted to, go through some of that before we jump into questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Sorry, jumped in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that it's a great question, and I think the part about marketing solutions will help us also to understand a little bit like what are some of the trends that's coming, and we'll partially answer that question. Yeah, so I think when entering into a new market, there's always the concern of how can I let the new consumers that I'm trying to grow know about our brand. How can I get them to buy our products? And on RedMart alone, we have over 160,000 products, and on Lazada across Southeast Asia, we have 240 million products. So getting visibility in that space requires a bit of planning. And we have many marketing tools which can help you to build awareness. And here are some examples of marketing assets that are available. For example, when you search and browse by category, we have a banner here which can be purchased. There's also like featured store within the category tree. There's also carousel banners. So this flips up to 6 to 8 times, and you can purchase a banner here. So these are all the different ways we can increase awareness. You can also, of course, do product boosting, just like all e-commerce platforms. Promotions are important, and participating in different promotions enable you to build more visibility.
Oh, Michelle, sorry, I'll just jump in again. We can't actually see the presentation. Maybe we need to share your screen again.
All right. Hold on. Just trying to figure out how it works. Are you able to see my screen?
Brilliant. Yes, perfect.
Yeah, just go back to this slide where I was sharing about some different marketing assets like the category search banners or product boosting, and about different kind of promotions you can run. And then I'd like to share a little bit about how we can engage our audience as well with some examples. This is a EDM which we built for RedMart Cookbook. So other than sharing recipes, which is very popular with home cooks, we also have, we can partner with equipment suppliers and brands, or even ingredients suppliers and brands. This is an example of a brand-wide or category type of promotions. And this one I really like is Pringles. They introduced a mystery flavor, and what you see here are 2 of our RedMart colleagues who did a little video about doing the taste test. And this is actually a pair of sisters who are trying out the first few years brand products for toddlers and babies, including feeding products and other equipment. And it really helped to build a brand story and affinity with our consumers. We also have many different live streams formats. And here is a cooking channel which we introduced and will continue to build. We also have gaming channels and homecation channel which we introduced during the COVID season. Different brands actually join us as well to run their own live stream, and we call this a user-generated content. So here are some of the different partners like Benefit, Airbot, P&G, Pokemon, who have come on to share and run their own live stream content. But I think when it comes to even MNCs have a lot of struggles with marketing budget, and therefore we are thinking that it actually makes a lot of sense for trade organizations, RedMart, and many local group of local international vendors to come together to drive a co-branding, co-campaign type of activation. So what we can do is to share traffic and share community. So here's an example, or rather several examples. This is one about bringing together different brands that are from Thailand. Thailand is a popular travel destination for Singaporeans, and one of the things that I really love is trying out all the street food. And so here's a campaign around Thai favorites for your home that is in partnership with also the trade organization. With the Korean food organization, we also have a home cooking day and several other mini campaigns run with them to showcase all the different Korean products, which are also very much trending right now as part of the whole K culture that's taking over the world by storm. Then with Japan, which is always one of the favorite countries to buy snacks from, because they're so lovely wrapped and all that. And you know, Jetro partnered with us to introduce Japanese snacks on RedMart. And this is an example of what they did with us, including you know, heavy commitment from both sides from the very beginning to make this successful. We built visibility around the campaign with marketing assets, but also what I find really interesting and helpful here is that it's not a one-time off, but a series approach. So here you see, this is what we kickstarted with Japan Hyperfest, and then it goes on to different parts of Japan which are known for different kind of food. So this is an example of a Hokkaido adventure. So this whole thing is actually one series, but it is broken up into different highlights per week. And yeah, so I just wanted to share these few case studies which could be, it could inspire us to try something for the New Zealander community as well. So I'll pass the time back to you, Rachel.
Thank you. I'll ask the questions this time. That was actually really insightful. And looking at the Japan example, you know, you can see how New Zealand companies could work together and have a similar campaign with you guys. There are some questions here which I will get onto. There's one here. If I have my products already listed on RedMart, what's the benefit of also being on Lazmall?
Yeah, I could take that question. So RedMart and so Lazada has several channels. Lazmall is known for you know, direct sourcing, authorized brand distributors, same or next day delivery, and authentic products and superior return experience. So these are actually targeting a group of consumers who are very interested in trying e-commerce for the first time, or know what they want to buy, wants to discover and buy from authentic brand retailers, but actually you know, don't want to go through the whole hassle of you know, searching with you know, millions of products. But they already know what they want and they want to buy from authentic brand partners. This is signature of the Lazmall channel. We have Taobao. Taobao is a platform in China, part of, is a marketplace where anyone can sell anything on Taobao. And as part of the Alibaba family, we have brought Taobao onto Lazada. So you can search global products all on Lazada through the Taobao channel. RedMart is our grocery arm, where you do your weekly grocery shopping, you know, pick up a few items, just like in a regular supermarket offline. You can find not only your fresh and frozen products, your pantry products, but also FMCG products, mother and baby products, and even pick up a few party accessories as you plan your weekend with family. And so, you know, like when we build all these different channels, it is targeting different groups of consumer with different shopping needs and journey. So when the question is, why do we list on Lazmall and RedMart? It's because you're targeting actually two different groups of shopping journey, two different groups of target consumers. But you know, the wonderful thing is with one platform, and so you can consolidate your business in a very seamless way.
Okay, and we've got another question here specifically about RedMart, this RedMart specialty stores model. Has it been stopped during lockdown? Is that right? When will we resume the RSS model?
We do not have a firm timeline. We are reopening slowly. So just to give a frame to this situation, RedMart had been appointed by the Singaporean government as an essential firm in Singapore during this COVID-19 crisis, which means that we had to reshuffle all our operation, our range of product, and our supply chain model to increase radically our delivering capacity to serve a maximum of Singaporean households. The nice consequence is that clearly our number of orders went through the roof. The dark side of that is that we had to reduce our assortment radically to focus on the delivery. The marketplace model has a complexity because you have to go collect the goods from a vendor, bring it back to our warehouse, so which is consuming drivers, consuming trucks. And these drivers and all these trucks had been reallocated to the last mile delivery of our core range of product. So we had been pushed to close this activity. Now the situation is evolving. We expect in few weeks to have a better situation in Singapore in terms of COVID-19, and we are re-enabling case by case some marketplace vendor. We are also opening the door of Last Mall for our marketplace vendor of Renmart. For the marketplace vendor that are able to fulfill the criteria of Last Mall operating model, we are opening the door for them to say, okay, in the meantime, you can no more sell on Renmart, but let's open the Last Mall marketplace system for you. So a couple of weeks, I would say.
Excellent. Another one here, a bit more of a big picture question. So with e-commerce developing so fast, what does Lazada or Renmart wish that what do you wish you'd done 2 years ago with the benefit of hindsight?
Yeah, it was what a lovely question, and don't we wish we all have the benefit of hindsight? I think part of being an e-com company is very much predicting trends and going with moving before the trend actually catches on. Technology development takes time to build. For example, we spent about a year re-platforming to the Alibaba tech stack. What this has enabled us to do is, while that 1 year was a long time for us to wait in order to get into the candy store of different technology tools, which we were so excited to bring to Southeast Asia, that 1 year that we have spent investing in that has really enabled us to scale very quickly. In the last 12 months, we have introduced the combination of multi-warehousing to build greater capability in the logistics side. We have introduced live streaming, we have scaled up wallet, we have introduced last games and scaled it up very quickly in the last 12 months. We have also introduced the Taobao channel and a new shipping model, which enables customers in Southeast Asia to enjoy buying from Taobao platform with a much more value shipping structure. We've also introduced collection point. So I think all of this is preparing for the acceleration of e-commerce, and the whole COVID-19 situation has only helped to really bring that to the forefront. And we are very grateful that we have had the ability and spend the time in the last few years to prepare for today. Whilst we cannot be prepared for every moment, I think what we have actually done is to ensure that we have all the different blocks in place so that whenever the trend takes us, we can be very nimble about it. Do we know what's going to happen in the next 6 months to 1 year? We do think that the propensity for online grocery shopping will increase. People are trying it for the first time today in many parts of Southeast Asia. Although this was already something that was very much part of the culture in many European and America, Australian markets, but it's really like not that common in Southeast Asia. But what we have seen today is that our fresh penetration has increased so much that people are buying their entire grocery basket on Renmart compared to 3 months ago. And the acceleration of the adoption of e-commerce is very apparent. So the diversification for our brands and seller partners to include online as one of their distribution channel and take it seriously is something that we really encourage you to do. I think this is not a matter of if it will happen, it's just when it will happen. And I think what the situation has told us is that it's right now.
Okay, and it's a kind of similar question looking forward. So given that there'll be a new normal in the coming months and years, how do you think e-commerce is going to evolve?
Yeah, I think e-commerce started very much in electronics. Just because it's such a mobile phone like that is bought offline or online, it's pretty much the same. Like there's like not much you can, there's not much change in quality or that, but a bunch of grapes that is bought offline and online, you may wonder if it will be the exact bunch of grapes that you imagine to be. Or when you buy a study desk, you want to see whether it's stable or not. When you buy a sofa, you want to know whether it's comfortable or not. And so the adoption by category has it is at different speeds. Fashion really accelerated because of strong return policy. It's not because people didn't want to try on their clothes before they actually buy it, but it's because it made it so painless for people to try it. The success of RedMart also is on the back of a very strong return policy where if you don't like your bunch of grapes, your bananas, you can always return it. And the process is very simple. It's no questions asked. Just send a picture of the less than perfect bunch of fruits that you have received and we'll be very happy and delighted to return to you. Our return rate is actually very low. And I think a lot of this adoption of category on e-commerce is very much mindset. And we can change that mindset or support those fears and give trust to our consumers through many different policies that we can introduce and build. While the platform plays a big role in that, and that's why choosing a platform which supports this philosophy is important, sellers can also participate actively to increase adoption of the category by thinking about what are some of the fears that your consumers may have, and then building policies or programs around allaying those fears.
Okay, so we've got time for just a couple more questions. We'll take two more, shall we? We've got quite a few here. To what level do you expect marketplace participants to head towards their own domain sites, similar to in EMEA in the US, rather than a Lazada marketplace moving forward?
Well, I think having your own domain site is kind of like having your own flagship stores. Just like, for example, maybe I sell shoes and I have my own flagship shoe store, but I would also like to list it in departmental stores. I would also like to, participate in Makers Fair and, tell more people about how awesome my shoes are. And it is no different from whether we should still maintain a domain, your own .com, or whether you participate in sharing your products with the world through Lazada or other offline departmental stores. I think I would approach it that way.
Great, and a question here about samples. Is there an option for sampling options for online shoppers? I guess RedMart would be the one to think of. Do you send out sample products from suppliers?
If you are already established supplier in Singapore, in a sense that you already are operating, I don't know, you are Häagen-Dazs, you have 30 different SKU and flavors available, and you want to try to push some of your new flavor by giving some samples, that were things that we have done in the past, and with a model which is slightly technical when it comes to operation, but we've did it. After, we are not the kind of person receiving free samples and try to displaying it on our web shop, simply because there is a regulation. We have to we cannot make money because we have to put a price on something. Yeah. So we cannot make money on free products. So we have to be slightly careful. After, the marketplace model is allowing you, through a local partner, to drop a palette of product to them. The price and the cost structure in between you and this partner is really up to you guys, and then this product can be listed on the marketplace platform with a retail price and tested.
Okay, and just the last one. This is kind of a general question about doing a country of origin type promotion. So how does that usually eventuate? Is it usually the country trade enterprise or similar, or would it be driven through, say, a RedMart or a Lazada?
For the one we operated, it's a three-way pattern. That means the trade organization need to be on board on that. Generally speaking, they are driving the initiative because they want to push their country of origin. Then after, the supply model that is set up behind that, it's an agreement that we set up all together. It can be pushing New Zealand products that are already in the market, together with testing New Zealand product that we are importing, or testing New Zealand product that are going through the marketplace model. But this is a tripartite model where definitely the trade organization need to be strongly involved, because they are the one that will consolidate the financial part of it behind.
Excellent. Hey, I think we'll wrap it up there. We've gone slightly over time, but I just wanted to say, Michelle and Gildas, on behalf of the New Zealand Chamber, thank you so much for joining us today. Some of those numbers were staggering: 2.1 million daily orders. So that's, you know, it's a huge market that can be accessed via your platform, and really, really appealing. I've learned a lot today, and learned a lot about the opportunities that Lazada has as well. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for attending.